here's a video on replacing the parking brake cable on a 2003 to 2007 Dodge Caravan or Town and Country. This is a great repair manual, but it doesn't have any information on replacing the parking brake cable. So there were a couple videos online for an older Caravan or Town and Country, and one was repairing the parking brake pedal assembly. So I looked at that, and then there's some information in one of the Dodge forums and showed a couple pictures, but I just figured I'd figure it out.
I want you to sit in the pilot's seat and do exactly what I tell you.
First thing you want to do, they say, especially when working up around the airbag there, which is underneath the steering column right there, is to disconnect the negative lead on the battery and then wait a couple minutes. So there's two screws right there, and then this just pops off. You'll start with this side. I started this side, just pulled out the little clip, and then same on the other side. Yeah, this molding has to come off, so you can grip it one hand here, the other hand on the other side, and just pull up in the middle, and just, you know, good even pressure, and it'll pop out. Same with that too, that just pops out. Then this little panel here, I removed that just so that you can see what's going on behind this parking brake latch, like release. So there's 1, 2, 3 screws, and then that comes off. I took off the side plate here, this plastic plate on the door, right under the door, and I took off the side plastic panel here, and then this panel right here. Now, I'm not sure that you really need to remove that panel. So just coming in here, I have it off there right now, and there's two 13mm bolts on the top and on the side, and then it on the back side it sits on a post that's fastened down with a 13mm nut. So let's just see here. Just show you where the post is. There's the post, and then up there is the top bolt, and then right here, let's see here, yeah, right there is the other 13mm bolt. Now I took off that bolt. When you're wiggling it out, you'll see why, because I just took out that bolt just to give a little bit more room. There's a little tiny bit of play there, and you'll kind of need that when you take it out. It's a little bit tricky. I mean, it's straightforward, but like anything, you'll just have to be patient and just kind of wiggle it out.
You're weird, you know that?
And then when you get it out, you'll have to be careful. It's there's two connections. There's a wiring. Let's see here. I'll show you. Now, you can either disconnect it at the plastic clip there, but what I did goes up here like that. This is the emergency brake light. So when the pedal is up, the brake light is off, and when you depress it, it makes the brake light go on, I guess. So there's a little bolt, and so rather than mess with the this little plastic thing, I just took the bolt out. And then the other point that you need to disconnect is this little arm right at the end, and that arm goes up right behind the parking brake release, and you'll see there's a little red tab there. There's two of them, so I just disconnected it there. If you've ever done a door latch, undoing a door latch, it's pretty simple. You can actually push that off with your fingers, so it's just like this. So once you get the bolts out, it's the wire you'll have to disconnect, and then that arm is the release for the parking brake. And how you actually do it, you can do it with your fingers.
Okay, honey, take it easy.
Just get your fingers behind there, just basically push it open like that. Okay, so here's the new cable. I got it. I got the factory Mopar part, and just make sure that it has a boot on it, the new boot. And You can see where it goes into the mechanism here.
I see it.
Make sure that it's just seated in there like 90 degrees, the socket there, the suede socket, is just seated all the way in, and I think that should be pretty good. Okay, don't do what I did there. So what I had to just uncrimp the little metal piece so that I could get the cable back out, because I forgot to put the cable through the bottom tension point or fixation point, I guess. So yeah, they just go through the once you push it through, the tabs lock it. So then there's the end of the cable. So now I'll connect it the way I had it before and crimp it. So don't do what I did. Okay, little issue, just finding enough slack. So I have the cable in there, and just finding enough slack to get it back into that little circular pocket there. I'm gonna try something here. I'm gonna try to just bend this little point just to see if I can rotate this past that point a little bit, to see if I have enough room to make that. The joys of DIY car mechanics. Okay, I was able to get it. So what I did is I took this point usually stops right there, so I just got a screwdriver behind it and just bent it a little bit past that point, and it just gives you maybe like, I don't know, half an inch more to get the cable on. It's not the right way to do it, but I'm cheating a little bit, so that has to go back. So I pulled the cable out. Actually, I didn't wrap it around this way. I actually took the cable from here and I went up here so there was more slack, and I started the socket in there that way first. So all the cable slack was out here. And then once the socket was in, I crimped that to hold it, and then I just very slowly worked. I started it up here into the channel, just very slowly pushing it into the channel. And then as you work your way around here, you can just slowly work your way around with a screwdriver and get it in. So you're basically, cable is up here, you're starting up here and you're working it into the channel, into the groove of the whatever it's called there. So yeah, it's in. So I just have to get that, just bend that with a flathead screwdriver back up to that point, and yeah, I think we're good to go. But yeah, it's a little bit of a, what they call a PETA, pain in the ass. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward, but it's just getting that cable in there is a bit tricky. So I still have to make the other cable end once I get it onto the van. So that should be fun. So I put that back. See, it's on the top now. I had it so it was on the other side. I just bent it past that point. There's some play in it. And I thought it would just give me like maybe another little half inch or so that I could put the cable on. But I would try to actually not move it past that point first and put the cable on from the outside, like wind the cable up, start it up here in the socket, and then slowly with a flathead, work the cable into the groove. There's a new boot going in. I know when I took the old boot out, it was a little tough, so I actually sprayed some silicone lubricant down around the boot just to get a little bit of lubrication, and it came out after some tugging on it.
Okay, honey.
Okay, so got it back in, and just show you the process here that I did. Started the cable in, and I actually reached down with one hand under the van and pulled the cable, and that actually pulled the rubber boot into position a little better, so I didn't really have to put too much pressure on it. And there is a little bit of give so that you can go either way on this cable. Then this piece just goes right back and goes in that little spot there. I think I got that. And then the screw goes, just to show you, I won't put it in. And then the screw goes right in and there. And then you can put it back up once that's fastened, because it's really hard to get at otherwise. I'm sure you could get at it, but this is the way I did it. Everyone does it a little different. Okay, it's back up in there, and I didn't put any bolts in. I just put it back up on the posts there without a nut. And then the only other issue was this. You have to kind of. I took out the bolt on the main dash frame, just to give it a little play, but you basically have to get a screwdriver or something. It's not much, but you'll have to get that behind there to get the bolt started. That has to go just slightly behind that. Can't show you, but I used the flathead screwdriver again, trusty flathead screwdriver. When I took it out, once I got that bolt out, I took that bolt out, and then I just kind of got a screwdriver in there and just popped that out, and then it gave me some play. Once I had the other bolts, it gave me some play to go up with this whole assembly to get it off that back post, because you'll need to get it up on the parking brake latch. There's that little red tab there.
I know that.
See, I just reached in there and then pushed that little red tab up on the bar, and it just snaps on that.
I know that too.
Okay, just a word of caution when you're tightening up these bolts, that one and this one here, to try not to come down on the brake pedal, because you'll actually pull the cable, and the way it is now, I noticed on the cable, if you pull that anymore, that's going to pull right through, and then you're really screwed. So already I'm going to try to, once I'm done here, I'm going to try to go back there and with a pair of pliers try to pull the cable down into the plastic housing a little bit. Try to get in there just a little bit, so that when I go down here, when I get it up under the van, I will get a pair of vice grips onto that, and hopefully be able to grip onto that and then pull the cable through.
You take a rest now. We're almost to Salt Lake.
Okay, so we got the old cable off here. There's the old brake cable, and it's got these little pressure kind of tabs, and that's the new cable in there now. So you just take it and you push it in this way, and then the tabs on the other side lock it into place, so that's in there now. But the challenge now is to get this equalizer bracket. You see one hole, one of the cables is a little bit different than the other cable, so the ends of the cables, one has a little bit bigger socket on it than the other, so it has to go one way. So the challenge is now to get enough tension to bring the end of the front brake cable to the equalizer. So that's the fun part.
Alan, we are going to be able to land, aren't we?
You tell me, honey.
Okay, here's the connection here. So where is it? So you want to pull the slack on your new cable. Pull as much slack as you can, and then put the vice grips on it there to hold the slack. And then there's that equalizer bracket there. And I had a hard time getting slack And so I went to the back, one back wheel, and I loosened off the brake adjuster, which you can access through the little rubber port, little rubber grommet that you pull off from the bottom of the wheel. But I actually had, my back brake was kind of rubbing and squeaking, so I was kind of curious. So I just took everything off. And there's the adjuster there. So I backed that off, and then I disconnected that, so I had the maximum amount of slack. And you know, as it turned out, when I was pulling on it, I was able to, when I really reefed on this one, on the new cable, it actually gave way, and I had more slack than I started with, so I was able to make that connection. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of, you have to just be resourceful, I guess. But I would say 3 vice grips for sure, and yeah, can probably do it. But I think I got the bracket on the right way.
Nancy,
Yes?
I love you.
Anyway, I tried the emergency brake, and there is tension on it, and so I connected that back wheel. And then I tightened up the adjuster just so that I was close, so it wasn't, so when I put the hub on, the disc, it was a little bit tight. So anyway, that's how I did it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for flying Columbia Airlines.